Hey, good morning, team. Just crossing the lake, heading to a meeting, and had something in my gut that I wanted to share with the entire team. So here we go. A couple of days ago, Jessica and I had a DM that we went to. It was kind of funny because this was a plumbing company out in Walker, Louisiana, very small town, and we both picked up something kind of phenomenal that I wanted to share with everybody. It was a plumbing company. As we're doing the decision maker meeting, the lady says, we got two types of employees. We have helpers and we have licensed plumbers. Ruth, you would remember this from LaPorte Plumbing. And she said, the licensed plumbers, the plumbers guys, they'll probably love what you guys have. The helpers, they usually don't attract anything like this. And and she says, plus we have a lot of turnover. So I begged the question, can you tell me why you think you have high turnover? And she says, well, really, it's a lot of work. It's hard work. And the pay isn't that great. So that's why we have a lot of turnover. And the work is hard because they're doing the grunt work. The plumbers aren't. The plumbers maybe install this, sweat a pipe here or there. But the guys who do the real labor work are always the helpers. They're the ones that are digging ditches, getting wet, all that kind of stuff. And so she was telling us that, I was asking more questions, and she said, I don't know why they don't stick with it, though, because if they become a licensed plumber, then the money is amazing. And it is. I know it is. And so I said, well, what does someone have to do to become a plumber? She says, well, they need to work about 5,000 hours as a helper or an apprentice plumber. 5,000 hours. Well, I just did the math on that. That's 2.4 years to become a master plumber or a licensed plumber. And when you get to that point, yes, the money is amazing. I got a buddy that I used to surf with in California. His name is Doug. He actually taught me. He was my first outside sales job, and we worked together at the Los Angeles Times, and we surfed for years together, did all kinds of stuff. I was the best man in his wedding anyway. In his late 20s, Doug decides he wants to become a plumber. And I'm like, what? And he does. And first couple of years, all that dude did was dug ditches. He worked his butt off for one of the best plumbers in Ventura, California. Kimball Plumbing was the name of the company. And Doug worked for Mr. Kimball and was an apprentice and then became a master plumber. And then Doug mastered plumbing. And then Doug started his own plumbing company called Gulf Coast Plumbing. And today, my friend Doug doesn't work. He doesn't work at all. He plays golf every single day. That's it. He doesn't turn any more wrenches. He makes so much money, it's ridiculous because he owns his own plumbing company now. But this whole story has been inside of my gut since then. And Jessica and I have talked about it. And the 5,000 hours is a big deal for me. I've heard so many times that to become a master at anything, you've got to practice 5,000, some people say 10,000 hours. Musicians, athletes, you name it. It's the time you put in, it makes you become a master at it. So, how does that relate to you? Well, I want to ask you. I know most of you guys are working during the day, but I'm going to ask you guys a tough question. How many of you are actually practicing to become a master at this? You like my pause? How many are you? How many of you have actually, on a regular basis, weekly basis, I would say you should be doing it on a daily basis, practicing your decision maker presentation with your family, with your friends, in front of a mirror at least? How many of you are actually practicing overcoming objections? I know I did. I've known about this 5,000 hours to become a master thing for many years. And when I learned about it first time, I started practicing at home because this is my profession. I want to be the best I can be in this job, in this profession. I can't say job, but in what I do. I want to be the best. And it doesn't take a lot to be the best, but you do have to practice. And I also believe that if you're only practicing between the hours of 9 to 5, 8 to 5, that doesn't count. That's not enough. So the plumbers, they're going to work 40 hours a week. So 5,000 hours for them to become a master. For 52 weeks in a year at 40 hours a week, that's 2.4 years. I know I didn't want to wait that long. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you to do 5,000 hours. Just get your 5,000 hours in. And so I'm serious, guys. I used to practice with people who would come over to the house. I would practice on them. And I would practice and practice and practice until people started saying, yeah, I want that. Then I realized I mastered it. When I go out with you guys and you see me overcome objections, you know why? It's not because I'm something great. It's because I've practiced. And anybody can do it. Anybody can practice. Anybody can practice for 5,000 hours. The real difference is, do you have the commitment, the dedication? Do you have the ability to do the small things every single day to master being a salesperson, to being a consultant? Or are you just doing what most people I see in this business do, is just come in and you wing it? You're flying by the seat of your pants. You're hoping that something's going to happen today, instead of being in control and refining and developing your skills and yourself. You know, I'm really, really proud of every single one of you. You know, let me give shout outs. Susan, Dustin, Ruth, love you guys. You guys are awesome. Monica, so proud of what you're doing in the momentum you have. Jessica, brand new in this thing, and you're setting appointments and you've got things in your pipeline. Who else? We got about a few other people about to come on board. So proud of every single one of y'all. However, I still ask myself sometimes, do the people on my team, are you guys practicing? Are you working yourselves to become that? Or are you still got a mindset where this is a job and you're simply going to do the bare minimum just to get a small paycheck? That's what happens to those employees at that plumbing company. Many of them come and go because they don't see the big picture at the end of it. They don't see that if I put in these hours, that the income is going to create a whole different thing for me and my family. You know, when they're digging ditches, all they think about is the ditch and the dirt and the water and the mud and the heat and the hotness and the hardness, the difficulties. They're not thinking, I'm actually doing this today to have a better tomorrow. Is that right? Some people go back to college to get that. But then when they enter the workforce, they still got to go through, they still got to sell themselves. For us, I think it's the easiest thing. Perfect your skills. Perfect your setting appointment skills. Perfect your decision maker presentation, your closing skills, your communication skills. Those are the two skill sets that you really got to perfect. That's it. And if you get it, you got it. You know, overcoming objections. Work on that. Master it. You know, earlier last year, I told myself I'm going to master the interview process. And I feel like I have. We've got 5 people coming on, mainly from nominations from all y'all. And I've interviewed them myself and brought them on board, and I've mastered that skill. And I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. So, as today is Friday and as you are winding up your week, I really want to give you this today because I'm hoping you'll take this message and you'll practice over the weekend. I'm hoping you'll ask your spouse or a family member. Look, I even think you should do this on your kids, because if you can communicate with your kids this, you can communicate this to anybody. I want to see you guys communicate this with somebody and practice the different skill sets you have. It'll fire you up to go out next week. It'll give you confidence, and your activity will go through the roof. Everything goes through the roof when you practice.